Have you ever wondered what it would be like to grow up under the ever-watchful eye of the world's media, to carry not only a famous royal title, but also the hopes and expectations of millions? In today's entertainment report, we're diving into the life and times of Prince William, a figure who has spent his entire existence under an intense spotlight. Yet behind the royal protocols, the grand ceremonies, and the headline-grabbing events, there's a human being whose path has been shaped by joy and heartbreak, duty and desire, tradition and transformation. While he's known internationally as Prince William, the Prince of Wales, his story is layered with personal struggles, family ties, passionate causes, and an unwavering dedication to service. Born on June 21, 1982, William Arthur Philip Lewis arrived as the son of Charles, then Prince of Wales, and Princess Diana, making him second in line to the British throne at that time. The press was fascinated from day one. Paparazzi staked out every possible location to snap pictures of the new prince, and news outlets worldwide clamored for details about his nursery decor or the brand of pram in which he rode. Diana, aware of how invasive that media attention could be, made a point of raising William with a sense of normalcy. She wanted them to appreciate life beyond palace walls. Diana took William to visit homeless shelters or charities, reminding him there was more to life than the gilded corridors of royal residences. According to Ingrid Seward's biography of Diana, the princess spent countless hours teaching her children the importance of kindness and empathy, traits that, by many accounts, remain central to William's character to this day. Even from a young age, William was known to be sensitive, a trait that Princess Diana both cherished and worried about. She affectionately called him Wombat, but at times fretted about how much he felt things. He was said to be deeply affected by the suffering he witnessed in news stories or during public engagements with his mother. The family also joked that William had a nickname, the Basher, thanks to a certain boyish rowdiness. However, as he inched closer to adolescence, he was shaped by Diana's example of compassion. He grew gentler, determined to use his position for good, while still retaining a youthful spark that could emerge at unexpected moments. William's upbringing was also marked by a series of challenges that might have broken a less resolute individual. The near constant presence of photographers dogged his every step. From the time he was just a toddler, tabloids latched onto any semblance of mischief, any fleeting expression on his face. Although the press often tried to paint him as the impeccably behaved future king, William was still a child. He had playful spats with his brother Harry, teased his cousins, and occasionally rolled his eyes at a stuffy ceremony. Royal watchers found it fascinating to see a young prince grappling with the everyday experiences of childhood, albeit on a highly public stage. When it came to education, William followed a path that was both traditional and distinguished. He enrolled at Wetherby School in London and then Ludgrove School in Berkshire. But the real media frenzy began when he attended Eton College, one of England's most prestigious institutions. Eton, just across from Windsor Castle, has educated countless members of the British aristocracy, and the idea of William wearing the school's famed starched collar uniform while strolling along the banks of the River Thames ignited public curiosity. Despite the swirl of paparazzi, William excelled in academics. Classmates have described him as quietly competitive, sometimes challenging himself to see if he could master a subject faster than his peers. Beyond academic work, William found an athletic outlet in the form of water polo, sometimes called the sport for the fearless, a physically demanding game that saw him train intensively. William's presence in water polo matches sparked an unusual jump in ticket sales, with fans eager to see the prince in action. But perhaps the most critical phase of his education unfolded at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. Initially enrolling in art history, William eventually switched to geography, a field that combined his love of exploration with an interest in human and environmental systems. Fun fact, at St. Andrews, he adopted the nickname Steve in the hopes of blending in and avoiding overbearing press coverage. This was partially successful thanks to the university's administration and the local community, who famously tried to protect him from prying eyes. Nevertheless, the British tabloids occasionally published stories about his nights out with friends. A BBC interview from that era mentions how many local residents would warn reporters to leave the poor lad alone, showing genuine empathy for the young man's desire to enjoy his student life in peace. St. Andrews also happens to be where he met his future wife, Catherine Middleton. Their love story, which began around 2003, would later become one of the most talked about romances in modern royal history. Upon graduating in 2005 with a respectable 2:1 degree, William prepared to fulfill another aspect of royal expectation, military service. Following in the footsteps of many male royals before him, he attended the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst. The contrast between William's princely bearing at official events and his serious approach to rigorous military training. Commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Blues and Royals Regiment of the Household Cavalry, William learned quickly that respect in the Army was earned, not bestowed by birthright. A fellow cadet revealed how William never acted entitled. He threw himself into drills and duties with genuine commitment, forging camaraderie with others through shared hardship. But the young royal wasn't content to stop at the cavalry. He pursued further training with the Royal Air Force, earning his pilot's wings at RAF Cranwell. It was at this stage that William's trajectory took a particularly interesting turn. He became a search and rescue helicopter pilot, operating out of RAF Valley in Anglesey, Wales. The year was 2009, and he served until 2013, piloting Sea King helicopters on missions that ranged from plucking injured hikers off Welsh mountainsides to assisting stranded vessels in the Irish Sea. William participated in 149 rescue operations, an impressive figure for someone who could have chosen a far more comfortable role. Stories abounded of local Welsh families encountering the prince in everyday settings, praising him for his humility. In interviews, he often shared how fulfilling it was to help those in distress, echoing the philanthropic spirit his mother had instilled in him. Stepping away from his role in the RAF, William didn't leave helicopter flying behind. From 2015 to 2017, he worked with the East Anglian Air Ambulance, responding to emergencies across the region. This job was not only physically and mentally demanding, but also emotionally charged, since the crew often arrived at accidents involving serious injuries. William admitted that witnessing traumatic incidents had taken a toll on his mental health. However, he said the work reinforced his resolve to champion better mental health support, not just for first responders, but for everyone. That resolve later fueled his involvement in charitable campaigns, including the Heads Together initiative, launched by William, Catherine, and Harry to reduce the stigma around mental health. William's charitable instincts took root early, spurred by visits to Chile, Belize, and parts of Africa during his gap year. These experiences opened his eyes to socio-economic disparities in the world. He observed communities struggling under the weight of poverty, lack of education, and scarce health care. It's no surprise, then, that he became a patron of organizations like Tusk Trust, dedicated to wildlife conservation in Africa, and Centrepoint, a charity supporting homeless youth in the UK. In 2014, he even met with President Barack Obama in the United States to discuss illegal wildlife trafficking. a meeting widely covered by major American networks like CNN, who praised William for his seriousness and diplomatic acumen. The prince emphasized how the destruction of wildlife habitats has severe repercussions, not just for endangered species, but for local economies and global ecosystems, reflecting a nuanced understanding of international issues. Fast forward to 2023, and William's philanthropic efforts continued to break ground. This was the year he launched the Homewards Initiative, aimed at eradicating homelessness in the UK within a set timeline. By tapping into partnerships with local governments, businesses, and community leaders, William sought to provide not just temporary shelter, but long-term solutions. According to an in-depth report in The Telegraph, which awarded the initiative's documentary film a 4 out of 5 star rating, Homewards featured pilot projects in various cities, including Aberdeen, where innovative housing solutions were being explored. The documentary underscored William's hands-on approach. Footage captured him visiting transitional homes, speaking with families who recently found stable accommodation, and pushing local councils to think creatively about resource allocation. Critics praised him for leveraging his royal platform to address a deeply systemic issue, rather than focusing on short-lived charity galas or photo ops. With these charitable milestones under his belt, William stepped more confidently into his role as a senior member of the royal family. Indeed, official engagements frequently took him abroad, often accompanied by Catherine. Diplomatic tasks included representing the crown at events like the 80th anniversary commemoration of D-Day in France in 2024, where William and other dignitaries honored veterans who had fought in World War II. During that same year, he attended the reopening ceremony of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, which had been undergoing extensive restoration after the devastating 2019 fire. William's speech in front of the iconic monument reflected genuine admiration for French resilience, saying he forged a moment of warmth between the British and French publics. But let's not forget one of the most internationally covered events in William's life, his wedding to Catherine Middleton on April 29, 2011, at Westminster Abbey. The ceremony was televised worldwide, drawing an audience of millions who marveled at the pageantry and tradition that only a British royal wedding can display. News outlets from across the globe, whether Reuters or Al Jazeera, fixated on every detail, from Catherine's Alexander McQueen gown to the list of celebrity attendees. Their love story, which began during their university years, had its share of media scrutiny. In fact, William had repeatedly asked the press to respect Catherine's privacy during their dating days, acknowledging that the relentless attention could be overwhelming. The wedding itself was an undeniable spectacle, featuring regal processions, centuries-old liturgical rites, and an iconic balcony kiss at Buckingham Palace. In modern pop culture terms, it was akin to a real-life fairy tale, but with the full weight of a living monarchy behind it. The strains that come with relentless coverage became heartbreakingly clear to William after his mother, Diana, died in a 1997 car crash. Paparazzi had pursued the car she was traveling in, hoping to snag unauthorized photographs. The tragedy instilled in William a lasting wariness of the press, especially tabloid paparazzi. Over the years, both William and Catherine have been vocal in their desire to safeguard their children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, from the more invasive forms of media intrusion. One high-profile incident that underscored these boundaries occurred in 2012 when the French magazine Closer published unauthorized topless photos of Catherine. William and Catherine sued the publication, leading to a €100,000 fine against Closer. According to subsequent BBC coverage, the legal victory was seen as a watershed moment, sending a strong message about privacy rights in the age of ever-proliferating celebrity images. Yet there have been moments when the media frenzy escalated in unexpected ways. In 2017, William was caught on camera dancing at a Swiss nightclub during what some journalists deemed a boys' weekend. The timing was unfortunate. The escapade occurred on the same day as Commonwealth Day celebrations in the UK, which William missed. Outlets like the Daily Mail and the Mirror lambasted him, suggesting he was shirking official duties. Though many fans leapt to his defense, arguing that a father of young children should be allowed the occasional night off, William still faced a barrage of negative headlines for days. It was a reminder that every gesture, every decision, even in private, can quickly become fodder for public debate. Another tempest in William's life involved his 2017 remarks on population growth in Africa. During a Tusk Trust event, he expressed concern about the effects of rapid demographic increase on wildlife habitats. Critics branded the statement tone deaf, pointing out that Catherine was pregnant with their third child at the time. According to coverage in The Guardian, some commentators found the remark hypocritical, but William clarified that his focus was on sustainable resource management, clean water, agricultural capacity, poverty relief, and how these factors intertwined with the conservation of endangered species. Academic articles on environmental policy, cited in The Independent, tend to support William's broader arguments about the delicate balance between human expansion and wildlife. Nonetheless, the swirl of controversy illustrated the fine line William walks in a world where every soundbite can be easily extracted from context. An especially intriguing storyline has been William's relationship with his younger brother, Prince Harry. The two were famously close in their youth, sharing mischief, heartbreak over Diana's death, and a playful rivalry. Over time, however, they have drifted apart. In 2020, Harry stepped back from his role as a working royal, moving to North America with his wife Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Media coverage in 2021 and 2022 portrayed the brothers' relationship as strained, culminating in allegations and counter-allegations about who was at fault for the rift, Yet in a 2024 documentary on homelessness, part of William's Homewards campaign, he mentioned a memory from 1993, traveling with Diana and Harry to the Passage, a charity that aids rough sleepers. Many newspapers, including The Guardian, interpreted this as an olive branch, a subtle acknowledgement that the bond might still be there, despite the public friction. Later that year, William and King Charles both wished Harry a happy birthday publicly, a gesture that further fueled speculation about a potential thaw in the icy atmosphere. 2024, however, was a year of overwhelming challenges for the entire royal family. King Charles III was diagnosed with cancer in February, a revelation that led William to step up in the monarchy, taking on a heavier load of official responsibilities. At the same time, Catherine faced her own health battle. She, too, was undergoing treatment for cancer, though details were kept relatively private. The press quickly labeled 2024 an annus horribilis, echoing Queen Elizabeth II's infamous description of 1992, when multiple royal crises shook the institution. Amid all this turmoil, William strove to be both a devoted husband and a supportive son. Royal commentators, such as those writing for Vanity Fair and the Daily Telegraph, commended his composure. They observed how William continued championing his projects like Homewards while attending high-profile engagements, stepping into a de facto regency role. It was a defining chapter in his life, one that tested his resilience and demonstrated his capacity for leadership under extreme stress. In spite of these weighty responsibilities, William has never let go of his personal passions, particularly his devotion to football. For the uninitiated, he has long been an ardent supporter of the Birmingham-based club Aston Villa. Journalists have often wondered why Aston Villa, especially as some royals typically gravitate towards London clubs. William once explained in a BBC interview that he appreciated Villa's storied history and their underdog spirit. In 2025, his fandom sparked international headlines when he excitedly celebrated Villa's 3-0 victory over Club Brugge KV in a Champions League match. Social media videos posted by fans in the stands showed William cheering like any dedicated supporter, wearing a claret and blue scarf. He even posted a message, through official royal channels, expressing anticipation for Villa's next match in France, a modern twist for a royal who must balance tradition with contemporary forms of communication. Sky Sports, in a post-game report, noted that William's exuberance was a welcome contrast to the often solemn image the public has of royals, reminding everyone that he's also just a sports lover at heart. The question, then, is what kind of King William might become when the time arrives. If current trends hold, he'll bring a blend of tradition and progressiveness, shaped by a life of unique pressures and privileges. His track record so far: successful stints in the military, meaningful philanthropic work, supportive fatherhood, and a willingness to embrace aspects of everyday life, suggests a willingness to adapt. Royal watchers from the New York Times to the Australian have speculated that William could steer the British monarchy toward greater transparency and public engagement, continuing the incremental reforms that have kept the institution alive for over a millennium. Public sentiment on this matter leans favorable, with poll data frequently indicating that many Britons look forward to his reign as a time of stable yet empathetic leadership. Regardless, his journey isn't over. There will be fresh controversies, new family chapters, and unpredicted global events that will test his composure. But his life so far indicates that he can manage these tests with a steady hand. He has forged his own path, influenced by the charismatic spirit of Diana, the sense of duty Charles displayed, and the example of stoic perseverance set by his grandmother, the late Queen Elizabeth II. He engages with a wide range of issues, from protecting wildlife in Africa to supporting mental health solutions in Britain, from comforting veterans of historical wars to championing progressive solutions for homelessness. Each cause reflects a piece of him, a man bound to royal duty but still determined to carve out an authentic identity. So that's the story of Prince William, a narrative that began in the cradle of enormous public scrutiny, shaped by tragedy and triumph, sacrifice and privilege, heartbreak and healing. He stands at the intersection of centuries-old tradition and the pressing realities of a changing world. Whether it's launching airborne rescues as an RAF pilot or promoting philanthropic initiatives like Homewards, whether it's cheering for Aston Villa in the Champions League or representing the crown at commemorations and diplomatic functions, William's many facets make him a fascinating figure to watch. He's no longer just Diana's shy, sweet boy or the awkward teenager wearing an Eton tailcoat. He's become a husband, a father, a leader, and quite possibly the future face of the monarchy. With each passing year, he continues to balance the weight of heritage with the urgent demands of modern life. And if his track record is any indication, the next chapters in William's story, whenever and however they unfold, will be every bit as compelling and consequential as the ones we've witnessed so far.